All right. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please introduce yourself.
My name is Kimberly Connor.
Miss Kimberly Connor, it is nice to meet you. Thank you for
Nice to
coming out
meet
to
you.
my candidate
Of
meet and greet.
course.
For everybody that's going to be watching online, I am doing something different. We're going to ask Miss Kimberly here, what do you think your biggest issue is, or that you may want to see from your state government?
I think right now, from the state government, I have a big problem with reproductive rights and children. Like, I don't know if it's like children's rights or like anything like that, but I know that recently what passed was the heartbeat bill or whatever that you can't get an abortion after like 6 weeks when fetus has a heartbeat, and it's like that's unfair to a lot of women because a lot of women don't even know that they're pregnant yet at 6 weeks. And then there could be complications, and a woman needs an abortion and it's not possible, and like all of that stuff. So, like reproductive rights, and also children, like the whole the lunch thing, like they're trying to take away free lunch for children
Yes.
that are in school, a place that they have to be, that they're forced to be, and they can't even give them a free lunch. Is, I don't know, it's pretty crazy to me. And like, I don't know, it's a problem.
Well,
I think those are like my biggest ones. Like, obviously, there's more that needs to be done, but
absolutely, absolutely. So I would like to ask you how you are, how old?
26.
26 years old. You're able to legally vote since you were 18.
Yes.
Can you tell me, outside of being able to vote for a person, how can you effectively vote on legislation?
How can I?
Yes, you.
Um, I don't know. I just do like midterm elections, like definitely vote in midterm
Voting for a
election.
person.
Yeah.
Yes. And maybe they have a bill on there that you get an opportunity to weigh in on.
Yeah.
All right. We've passed, or we brought up in this Florida government since January over 1,100 bills.
Hmm.
How many have you been asked to vote on?
Like maybe 10. Like,
Maybe 10.
like not that many. I know that.
How would you have voted if you would have been given the opportunity to vote for whether we should keep giving, whether we should, taxpayers should keep funding these children's free lunch, or if we should take it away? How would you have personally voted?
I would have voted to pay for
You
children's
would have voted
lunches.
to keep funding.
Hmm.
That's why I'm running for governor of Florida. I think that we should be asking our citizens before we pass the legislation. I think our citizens, since we pay the taxpayer money, should be able to weigh in on these things before we find out about it.
Hmm.
You should be given a time frame to say, hey, this is our proposal. Even if I have a good reason for why I'm saying we should remove free lunch, it should not remove your right to decide if my thought process is also yours.
Hmm.
Did you know? And you know, I won't even ask you this question. I'll just tell you flat out. When you elect your representative, currently in our representative democracy, which is why I'm pushing for legislative authority, when you elect your representative, they are independent of you. They do not have to vote the way you want them to, even if you support them. If that's the case, my goal is to ensure that the majority still get to also have a voice. I need to figure out, and I want to put in a system where you don't necessarily need to concern yourself with if I'm a good person or not, because we don't have laws against whether or not a representative can tell you, well, can lie to you. There's no law against it.
Hmm.
There's nothing that says, hey, when you sign up to be an elected official, you must tell us the truth right now. So if we don't change these rules, which is why I'm running, we need to change the rules. We maybe cannot solve every problem because we refuse to change the core problem. First, I need to make sure that you have a pathway to saying no to elected officials. You got to be able to say no. Hey, you want this? My community doesn't. I just met you today. Never, don't know anybody that you know. This means that you have more influence over the people that you know than I should ever. It doesn't matter how much you believe in me. Somebody that knows you should at least trust your word to say, hey, there's this bill that just came out. I want you to vote no on it because maybe you didn't have time to read it, whatever the case may be. You're more in your circle than I will ever be. But if I do not figure out how to constitutionally give you the right to say no to elected officials, you will continue to go down this cycle. When I was 26, that no one stopped. No one even came on and said, hey, you don't even control, you can't even stop them from doing something wrong. You have to wait until an election cycle and put your hope on the current system that won't even stop me from being able to lie to you. Something's wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'm not here to tear your system down, but I am here to tell you that we need to address the core problems. So a citizen may just say, hey, like yourself, you already have issues with certain things that are going on. If I can't get you a voice, then you keep participating in the same cycle. You're going to keep having issues. They're going to keep asking you to protest. Get out here, hold up a sign, hold up a picket, do what you got to do. You're going to keep screaming to the top of your lungs to representatives that have the right to have their own opinion, just like you do. The biggest difference is they can vote to move your tax dollars. And I want you to be able to vote to move your tax dollars. Now we know that, like I say, this is a Florida where every elected official from school boards to the governor is directly accountable to the people we serve. What this means is when an elected official comes out or when a representative comes out, they don't just get to say, I'm going to fight for you. Because right now, there's 120 counties. That means 120 people that have to go in there. If you find one that says they're going to fight for you and you're going to believe in them, they got to go up against 119. The 119 has the majority. You're going to lose. How come? I believe that there are other people too that also believe that, hey, maybe we should have kept feeding these kids. I've seen the responses. How come they don't get the way in to help out the majority? We need to fix that. It's a problem. On limitations, there's no direct accountability to elected officials to you. They're not directly accountable to the people who vote for them. Why am I going to keep asking you for your vote? And you're going to give it to me. But then if something happens, let's say somebody offers me some money and I take it, and then I make a proposal for something that I know is not in the best interest of the people who put me in office. What can you do to stop that proposal? Nothing. That's why I'm trying to be governor of Florida. That's my sole purpose. If we're going to be in a system where people can lie, because we're not in a place where we're about to pass legislation and say, hey, my morality should be your morality. My standards should be your standards. Just met you. You've been brought up different lifestyles, so forth and so on. We just met. We're not there where we're going to pass laws on morality. Then you need to be able to say no. And your community needs to be able to say no. That's what we're trying to do. Current elected officials make too many decisions without any meaningful public input. You can come out all day long. People can say that, hey, we understand where you're coming from, but it's not meaningful because it doesn't affect legislation. They do not have a metric that says, I had all of these people come out and say, we do not want this and we need to do something about it. There's no metric for that. So we have a problem with distrust. That's why these lines are so, we have no trust in government collectively. But this is still the system that we all have to work in. So it's a huge problem. We have to figure out how to build trust. Typically, when you want to do that, you let people in, give them a little bit more authority, give them some accountability, let them say, hey, I was responsible for being able to vote on this. Transparency is a huge piece of that. So citizens need to be direct oversight. citizens. Hey, we didn't like it. Accountability for every elected position, transparent processes, a bottom up approach, and this one's huge, technology enabled participation for all voters. I need to make sure that you do not have to stand outside and burn up in this long line when you can do everything from your telephone. You should be able to vote on legislation from your telephone. Not only that, you should be able to say exactly what you said earlier and then let technology find all of those other citizens who agree. Put that data together and now say we have 58% of the citizens who also said that we need to be feeding our children. We need to be looking at Florida's female population saying they want more stance, they want more stake in how legislative decisions are made as it relates to their bodies. They want to do that. We have the technology, it's just not utilized. My personal belief why it's not utilized, because it would not present the true picture. So right now, we have 120 people that don't seem to be doing consistently overall quite a bit what people want to see. And it's important for me to ensure that you understand that hey, what he's asking me to do is to actually be responsible for how I economically look at my state as a whole, how I actually economically look at my community as a whole. And now I need to be a part of maybe reading more. I need to be a part of conversation. I need to create conversation within my group. As a young person, and I consider myself young too, but I'm 42 years old. Do you guys talk about politics often?
Personally, I do. Um, I think I'm on the side of social media where like my For You page and Twitter and all that is like mostly all politics. Like, and then like right now, my family say that I'm the woke family member because like at Thanksgiving I am bringing up who did you vote for in the last election, because I need to know where you stand in my rights and your rights and everybody's rights.
Absolutely. I do agree. I do agree. This is my definition for legislative authority. It means that Floridians at every level of governance will have the ultimate decision making power and oversight over their elected officials. Now, I do get this question, so I'll just bring it out to you. Some people ask me every now and again, why do we need elected officials if citizens will have this overarching authority, right? Why do we need elected officials then? Well, here's why. It's the same reason that we need doctors. It's the same reason we need lawyers. Different people do different jobs. These elected officials' jobs are to police their communities, police their environments, and see where we are lacking and where we can grow. Then they need to be able to bring that back to you and say, hey, based on our budget, based on what you said, based on input, this is what we're looking at, and this is how we're going to get there. Do you agree? Needs to be the next thing that comes out, because as a taxpaying citizen, the next thing that's going to come out is maybe a slide that says, this is how we're going to pay for it. So now when we start talking about the impacts, the real impacts of what that means, hey, in order for us to make sure that these roads get done, we have to raise the toll 50 cents. How is that going to impact the group? If we raise that toll 50 cents, we can ensure that that money is going to go directly here, and that's the bill that I'm going to put forward. This creates a different type of conversation. Instead, you just wake up, you have no clue what's going on, and you find out that, hey, something happened. I don't know where I got charged at. I don't know where my money is going, but I know that something's happened and I see no change in my current position. I'm just maybe upset or at minimum disgruntled because I don't know what's happening. So it's super important to understand that once people are accountable to you, they have to add you to the conversation. If they're not accountable to you, you are getting exactly what we're getting right now. Wake up, just like I did. DCPS sent that email on Friday, on Thursday night, maybe Friday, and said, "Hey, 37 schools are going to lose their free lunch." Then it was Thursday because they turned around on Friday and said, "Pause. We're going to wait till September 22nd to change this over." But it was the but. But if you already filled out your exception form and you were denied, you need to start paying immediately. Now imagine how many people that they sent those forms out to early that filled them out, and they were like, "Man, I could have at least could have had a buffer zone until September 22nd." You don't even have that. So I don't expect that level of mismanagement from people who, when you're in the position, you're automatically given this intellectual platform that you're on. So how do you make this type of error? But overall, those students will lose that free lunch. That it's no ifs, ands, and buts about it, unless something changes dramatically. This is how this works because any position that you vote on, any position that gets voted on, every single one of those individuals will answer to you, to your community as a collective. So it has the position, it's positioned to be something that we have never seen, in the history of the United States of America. A government that is governed by its citizens. Never seen. So getting the young vote, because this is the majority. Florida does not have a high percentage of voting individuals that actually get up and go vote. Just don't. We need people like you that are gonna be like, "Hey, I bragged some of these extra papers. We need to go down to the supervisor of elections office and turn in this petition." And then after we turn the petition in, that's gonna show that at least, at least we want it. It's important to me. Because this is something serious that it would cost me $15,000 to pay to have my name put on the ballot. And maybe I would come out and I would do the same thing. Maybe I would. But it's gonna cost $15,000. But I decided to say, you know what? I need to know if citizens want control over their elected officials. I needed to ask the question directly. Do you want control over your elected official? You can say yes out loud.
Oh, yes. Oh, I didn't know if you were asking.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. And I appreciate it because you know what? A lot of times,
I didn't know. I thought it was a rhetorical question. Does it everybody?
you would think that.
You would think.
You would think that. But there are citizens who are afraid, or at least are a little reluctant, because we're not all educated to the same level. So certain people say, "Hey, I don't know if I want to trust who. Who is it that you don't want to trust?" It's very important to me because I'm always like, "Hey, if I don't know the people in your circle, I'm not talking about them. So who in your circle don't you trust to make a good decision?" That's a tough one for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you referencing when you say they're not? Who are there? Who are they? Who are them that are not intelligent enough to also be able to navigate having control over your elected officials? This is something I had to battle. So there are times where I'm very particular on the words I use because I have to bring citizens up to legislative conversation while simultaneously making sure you have access to simply say no. So this is what I tell people. If there is something that you do not understand, vote no. Because that means your representative didn't do a good job of explaining it to you. And neither did your circle. Maybe you need to ask somebody, "Hey, there's this bill that just came out. Let's just throw out a number. 112.01 came out. I needed to create the conversation. But while creating the conversation, while creating these educational formats, I needed to make sure that you had the access. My platform for legislative authority is to give you access. It's to give you access. It's to make you inclusive. We know, most of us know that, hey, if you don't like something that your representative is doing, you have a position where you can recall your elected official, but you don't hear it happen often. This is an educational gap. People don't utilize recalls, but there's a lot of complaints. Hey, why don't we just recall the person who made these decisions and put somebody else in the seat? It's an avenue, but it won't be a be all end all, because right now, well, they just change the rules. The people that police themselves, because that's what our government does. It polices itself. So I would just change the rule. I need to make it to where you have to ask the citizen before you change the rules.
That would make sense.
Yes. Hey, I don't want anybody to say, hey, we need to remove the ability to recall because now they know about it and they want to use it a lot. You got to ask them, is it okay? Is it okay for us to pass legislation so that you cannot police us? But it's easier because you do not hear mainstream media say, if there are so many problems out here, why aren't citizens recalling? I'm going to talk like that because maybe you might find somebody that's real, that's got a lot of umph in them. That's like, hey, let's get this petition together because I need this many signatures because we need to recall these individuals and remove them from their seats. So we don't put information out to make sure that, hey, it's available, but a lot of people don't know. Matter of fact, when a lot of people look at this video, they'll probably be like, we could have recalled. We can sign petitions to call people in. Now, then there are things that need to be done. But overall, do you meet the criteria to simply say, is there a rule that says, hey, citizens don't like what you're doing, so you should be removed from that seat? If the rule isn't there, then they won't be removed. Simple as that. But if I allow you to maintain your opinion because you've went to school for a very long time and you are an expert in what you do and you have an expert opinion, but maybe something in your life says that you just don't like that decision, that's okay too. Because the majority of us have decided through the democratic process that this is what we do want. So you maintain your vote. You can still vote no, or you can vote yes. But you don't override the people who you asked to put you there. And that's really important because I'm not trying to be a messiah over anybody. I just want to get out here, do the job that you hired me to do, turn around and make sure that what I'm looking at also aligns with how we're going to get there. Even if we got to go through hardship, I want to be able to say, hey, we're going to go through some hardship. My overall mission, my overall goal is to get us to have a constitutional convention. Right now, our Constitution simply says, Article 1 simply says, all political power is inherent to the citizen. That's it. That's all stop. Now, the way we use it is you vote for people like me. You vote for this person that's supposed to represent you, even though they're independent in how they think, and they're independent in how they vote. I need to make sure that our Constitution talks about how citizens can use their constitutional political power. Not just simply vote and go home, because that's all that happens. You vote and you go home. And then you hope. You hope that that person who came out that built you up, and that's not what I'm trying. I'm not trying to make people, I'm trying to say that, hey, I need you to want to have control over your government. I need you to be passionate about reading. I need you to be passionate about stepping out and talking to those people that are in your circle. I don't need you to be passionate about, man, he came out, he gave the best speech ever. No, you leave there saying, hey, I feel like if I look into this, if I look into the data, if I verify and validate the data, is there a gap? He's asking me to help him close the gap and start to move us in a better position. That's it. He's not asking me to really rah-rah for him. He's asking me, do I understand that there's a gap? And that gap needs to be filled. There are a ton of people who tell me things like, hey, you're not entertaining enough, or your speeches are too long. Can you condense this down? Because they're looking for an emotional impact. I want you to feel personally impacted that you do not have the right to decide how this state runs, but you are asked in so many ways to pay your tax money. And one thing that you will see on my videos that burns me up, it really upsets me to my core, is that me and you right now are paying for jets, for private jets that we will never have access to. I don't even want a private jet, and that's not even the point. The point is, representatives passed a bill for a private jet that I have to pay for, that I will never have access to, I will never own. Even if someone was to offer me a ride on the same private jet, I never even wanted it. I would have never even considered it. And I didn't even get an opportunity to say no, because I know I would have said absolutely not. Not a chance. That bothers me so much, you have no idea. So, I do get frustrated. I'm really personable. I do not curse often. I will say that. He won't catch it. I never curse in front of my kids. It's a little thing. I never curse in front of my kids ever. And so it's really easy for me to marry about my day and not do so. But if you ever in the future, like, man, you ever catch me talking with friends or at a bar or something, and somebody saying something, you be like, I thought he said he never cursed. He never cursed in front of his kids. He don't curse on any video that he does either, because his kids got access when they shouldn't. So he knows, he knows to always curtail himself, because until my children become adults, they're never going to hear me use no bad language, because I'm very particular about what I give them. I know the world don't give them a whole lot, but what I give them is important to me. So I like to give everybody the same thing. Like, he can't be, he's real. He's not. He's like a robot. No. I live a fun life. I have a good time, just like everybody else does. But I do have a couple of values and standards that I just don't break. One of those huge to me. I'm sick of y'all paying for things. I'm sick of me paying for things that I never would have wanted to pay for. Anybody out here be hard pressed to tell me that you're okay paying for a $10 million private jet that you will never have access to. You're gonna be hard pressed to give me that argument. Why? Who throws their money away? Especially in this economy. Who is just throwing it away? These people are billionaires. You could just buy the jet. Just go buy it. 99.9% of Floridians cannot afford a $10 million private jet. Makes absolutely no sense. I won't be too redundant, because that's exactly what these slides are, saying the exact same thing. They're letting you know that, hey, this is what it would cost. This is me coming out to citizens saying, hey, $8.5 to $132 million is what it would cost to ensure that you don't have to stand in line again to vote. We wasted $450 million plus on Alligator Alcatraz, which they just talked about closing down. We taxpayers are going to pay to appeal that judge that said y'all should close it down in 60 days. But like I tell people, our current governor is a Harvard law graduate. How did he overlook the land conservation? How do you overlook that? It just doesn't make logical sense. One of those contracts, $50 million, went to Porta potties. $50 million for the porta potties. In 5 years, if it took me, because I did a long range estimate, a 5-year total estimate of $8.5 to $132 million to ensure that, hey, you can vote right from your telephone. And taxpayers spent $50 million on porta potties. Maybe. Because you're gonna have to show me $50 million, what $50 million worth of porta potty looks like. And please don't tell me, well, you gotta add in the fact that they had to bring people out to suck out show me $50 million and why you paid $50 million for porta potties. Please. Because I have been to some very large public picnic type events with a whole lot of, with more people than are down in Alligator. And I'm pretty sure they didn't spend $50 million on porta potties and making sure the trucks could come in there and scoop out the waste. But that's what we did. So I really hope that, because I'm definitely not gonna make you sit here for an entire hour. So I hope that when you do leave, that you leave with an understanding of where we're trying to get to. And whether you think you're by yourself, you're not. Whether you're one person that show up, whether no one shows up, none of it matters. If we don't figure this out, this is to me, this is what is going to be of our future. 8, 9, I think I had 17 out of 5,000 emails, out of 5,000 text messages I sent out, 17 of them reported yes, I'll be there. Not on time or not showing at all. And it cannot break what we're trying to do. It just cannot. You just got to keep on doing it. You just got to keep saying, hey, it's a 10 cent that it's going to cost you to take that form to your supervisor's elections office. Is that 10 cent your breaking point? Is that what it's going to be? Because that's what sometimes you have to ask yourself if you're in an empty room. Is an empty room or one person your breaking point? It can't. For me, it's a no. For somebody else, it may be. It may be, hey, I was the only one who showed up. There might not be a lot of people who believe in this ideal of getting control over your elected officials. That may be people need sometimes to see more people and more people for them to get on board. But it's got to start with one. It's got to start with one. And then you just got to move from there. None of our problems can get solved in the way we would like to solve them if more people can't weigh in on the solution. Right now, we have 120 people weighing in on an estimated 23 million citizens. That's an estimated 23 million Floridians. 120 people are weighing in on what they think is best. And some of the bills that have been passed, the majority of the bills that have been passed, I would have voted no. So I do thank you for coming out, Miss Kimberly.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.